Joshua of Egypt, Chapter 7. Baiting the Trap. Joshua pulled out another arrow and fidgeted with the bow in an attempt to aim better. Crowe stood nearby with a critical eye on Joshua. "All right, your grip on the bow is decent, but you're still squeezing the shaft of the arrow too tightly in the fingers." Crowe corrected Joshua's hand with his own, and then stepped back. "Now, remember what I told you. Take in the breath as you target. Release the breath when you let go of the arrow. Use the built-up energy. Let it flow from your chest into your hands." Joshua let go of the arrow and exhaled at the same time, a first for this morning. The arrow flew from his bow all the way to the hay-filled target across from him. It stuck in the outermost ring of the target, almost missing it entirely. But it was a first hit. He jumped up and nearly danced around. "Ha! Got it!" Crowe didn't show an ounce of emotion, other than a slight irritation at the dancing student. "Yes, you got it. And if it were a moving target, you would have missed and be dead already. Do not break emotions. To be a sniper in the trees means to be in total control of your emotions. If you fail with the shot, or if you succeed, it does not matter. Hone your feelings so you do not let yourself break the focus. If you miss, continue to take aim and shoot again. If you hit, make sure your next target is already in sight." Joshua stopped bouncing around and gave his instructor a rather ugly frown. "You have no fun." "Fun is just an excuse to be a fool. We're at war with gods. We don't have time to waste on fun." Joshua cooled down and took his kneeling position again. He set the bow properly in his hands and then pulled out another arrow. "Fine, I'll try again, without emotions." Crowe came down and corrected the arm positions and situated the arrow on the string better. "Even the slightest alteration to the correct position will change the course of your arrow. Remember, what you do in insignificance here is amplified the further away the arrow flies." Joshua did his best to hold the correct position Crowe had just shown him. He took in the focusing breath and then leveled his aim at the target. He released again, sure he had done everything correctly. The arrow flew directly at the target and lodged in the second outermost ring, his best effort yet. This time he didn't jump around in excitement. Lowering his arms, he looked up. "What am I doing wrong? I thought I'd have that one." "You're still sloppy in your positioning. You must concentrate on getting the placement of every bone, muscle, finger, eye, head, heartbeat, so that the shot is perfect." Joshua stood up and took a step back. "Can you show me?" Crowe took out his own bow and knelt down in the perfect position. Joshua could see that Crowe did not have any arrows with him, so he took out one to hand to him. "No, I don't need them." Crowe situated his bow, and then placed his fingers on the string as though he had an arrow in them. Stretching it back, he carefully took aim at the target. When the snap of the string came, an arrow appeared out of nowhere and flew right at the perfect center of the target. Joshua slowly put the arrow back in his quiver, his eyes wide and staring at the magical arrow protruding from the dead center of the target. "How did you do that?" Crowe coolly stood up and stepped aside. "My blood blessing. I'm gifted with the ability to create arrows, as I need them." "Blessings? You have more than one? What else?" "I have far sight to pick out my target, and I have a bird." That last one stopped Joshua. "Bird?" "When a person is granted a blessing of the blood, they're asked what they want. I ask for the arrows, the sight, and the ability to scout far ahead. The bird is my scout. She brings me back evidence of what is ahead. I can see through her eyes, and while she flies." He snapped his fingers, and a large raven flew out of the tall trees and landed on his shoulder. "She will never lay an egg, cannot die, and will remain loyal to me until I am no longer breathing." "Wow." Crowe pointed at the ground. "I hope you paid attention. I want you to hit the center of that target before you—" "Joshua!" Magus interrupted them. Joshua stayed down as he smiled at the leader of the group. "Good morning, Magus." Magus turned to Crowe. "I wanted to have breakfast with him and use the time to start his instructions from me." "You gave me his training schedule. I chose to start him early this morning." Crowe answered, "He'll eat breakfast when he has hit the target to my satisfaction." "I see." Magus looked at the kneeling Joshua. "I also see that you changed his clothes, too." Joshua was now wearing a leather kilt that was rather ragged at the end. It was loose for quick movement, but heavy enough to keep Joshua decent. He had nothing above the waist, but that wasn't unusual considering how he dressed before. On his legs were tied leather wraps to protect his shins. Crowe replied, "All my students wear this. What he had before would not work in sniper training." Magus seemed to take offense at Crowe's direct attitude. "Joshua is here by the request and permission of Cersei herself. He isn't just another student. He is a guest." Joshua spoke for himself. "It's all right. I like these clothes. Master Crowe is correct. They make it easier to kneel and move quickly. What I wore before was daily, casual wear from my part of the world. Even our warriors wore more agile clothing for quick movement." "But you don't even have anything on your feet." Magus looked down at the furry feet beneath the leather wraps. Joshua lifted a leg to show him the bottom of his foot. "I have really rough feet that don't feel the harshness of the ground. I seem to grip the surfaces better and like this, and I can feel my way around." "All right. If you're fine, then I'm satisfied." Magus looked directly at Crowe. "Remember that Joshua is a guest. We're helping him, not training him to be part of our legion." Crowe and his raven both gave Magus an icy glare. "I'm going to teach him like any other student here, guest or not. If I don't, then I will do him a disservice. You gave me the right to oversee his instruction, and I will do it to the best of my ability, and I expect no less from each of the other instructors that I hand him to." Magus nodded to Crowe in agreement. "All right. Joshua, when you're through here, we'll eat something and I'll start you on my lessons." "I'll find you when I'm done," Joshua answered. Magus stepped back and watched this lesson for a moment. Crowe continued with the teaching. "Look back in your mind to how I positioned myself and how close my eyes were to the bow. You aren't close enough. You are too afraid of—" "Joshua!" Julia screamed from across the courtyard. Joshua looked up with a snap to see Julia and a servant walking toward them. The servant attempted to help Julia, but she was stumbling. Joshua dropped his bow and ran to her. Crowe huffed in annoyance while Magus ran with Joshua to the side of this young seer. Joshua took her hand. "I'm here. I'm right here. What's wrong?" The servant tried to explain. "I found her wandering the halls, looking for you. She was just like this, scared and crying." Julia took his hand with a fearful grip. "Joshua, we must speak, now." Magus made his presence known by touching her other hand. "Julia, I'm here as well. What is the matter? Can I help?" She moved away from him. "I must speak with Joshua alone. No one else. It's important." Joshua and Julia sat in her room, with the door barred as per her request. Calmer now, she still trembled with fear. Joshua said, "I've made sure that the surrounding rooms are clear and no one is in the hallway. What's wrong?" Julia held out her hand and he took it. "Last night I had a dream. It was a vision of the future." "The future? What did you see?" "I saw a great battle at this temple. The armies of Cersei were fighting strong against something terrible. A foe marched toward us and tore down part of the wall. It was dreadful." Joshua stood up. "We must warn the others. Magus—" No, there is more. There was a person of this temple. I could see them." "A hero? Someone who will fight this monster?" "No, they are not a hero. They're betrayers. In my vision, they helped the monster tear down the walls and destroy the temple. A betrayer walks amongst us." Who? That is the strangest part of the vision. I don't know. They hid their identity from me. I heard no voice to recognize, and I saw no face to describe. The power of foretelling is strong, and even the gods themselves cannot fully alter or stop visions. Something has spent great energy to conceal this betrayer's image. What are you saying? I don't know. I'm so frightened right now. Joshua was about to say something when a soft knocking came to the door. He was sure that mages promised him that no one would come down this corridor until they were done speaking. Who is it? A friend. His canine ears recognized that voice. Leaving Julia on the bed, he went and opened the door. There stood Circe in disguise again. He bowed low. My lady. Julia held out a hand. Who is there? I sense a great power near us. Circe came in and closed the door behind her. She took Julia's hand. It is I, Circe. Why have you come? Is it because of my vision? Circe waved a hand, and a chair slid across the room over to her so she could sit before Julia. Yes, I could sense you were going to have a vision last night, and wondered if you were to see this. Joshua came over and sat on the bed. So, you know about this betrayer? Unfortunately, I've been aware of the machinations of a dark god in my temple for some time. Someone here has been blessed by an evil god. Your vision was clouded by immense strength used to hide this betrayer from my own sight. I've searched and searched to find them, but found nothing. This is why I have yet to order any siege on this dark palace of Morlick. Had I no betrayers in my midst, I would have weakened the defenses by strategic assault over time. But the circumstances being what they are, they could lead my armies into a horrible trap if I sent them without knowing who is against me and who is with me. Well, why go now? Joshua asked. Surely you must want to find this betrayer before going after the sword. Circe gave Joshua a rather discomforting smile. Your presence here is actually part of my plan. Since the time has arrived to choose the betrayer of the sword, I have hoped that the enemy would reveal themselves. They must make a move to prevent the destined one from getting the blade. I needed you here to upset our enemy, force them into moving forward with their plans. I needed bait for my trap. Bait? You're using me? Circe gave a gentle nod. Then she addressed Julia. Tell me of your vision. A great battle will be fought here at the temple. A dark demon will approach, intending to destroy everything. Among the chaos of battle, the betrayer will reveal himself. That is all that I could determine. The dream was more clouded than any other I have ever had. Circe thought about this, pondering over the implications of the dream. The demon and the battle are both just distractions. They're meant to weaken us and catch us off guard. The true nature of this battle will be the betrayer's special mission. He will seek to destroy the one I choose for the sword. It will be more easily achieved amidst the chaos of this attack. Joshua gulped down his fear and then asked, What if I decide not to take the sword? What if I renounce being the chosen one once and for all? Will that stop this from happening? If you walk away from us forever, the plans of our enemy will be stalled, but not for long. They know now I'm seeking a champion. They'll expect that we're hiding him from the world to keep them from knowing. So whether or not you take the blade, they will come. Julia reached over and took Joshua's hand. Please, don't take the sword. I'm afraid for you. Circe said, I have always known that whoever took the sword would face serious opposition and strife, but they would also have the honor of being the greatest hero of this war. Humanity will depend on them for hope. I did not seek you out lightly, Joshua of Egypt. I know you have the strength to complete this. Joshua looked at Julia and then at Circe. I'm sorry. I know you have great faith in me, but I don't. All I want to do is go home. I will not take the sword." Cersei sat back in the chair and let out a long, sad sigh. "I understand, but I ask that you do not tell the others you have decided this. I need your help in finding the betrayer in my temple." "In what way?" "Stay. Train. Let everyone believe that you're still considering taking this mission. I'll set a constant sentry on the most distant borders of my territory. When the betrayer makes his move, you can escape and my people will take him down." Julia asked the obvious question. "Who can you trust to watch your borders?" "The 4 are trustworthy. I have faith that none of them will betray me. They'll lead the teams of scouts watching our borders." "Should we tell them?" Joshua asked. "Should we let them know what is to come?" "No. The situation is dangerous. Even the smallest piece of information leaked to the betrayer could be our downfall. We must vow to not speak of this to anyone." Julia squeezed Joshua's hand. "Are you going to agree to this? Stay and train, be bait for a trap?" Joshua squeezed her hand back. "I think it will be all right. I could use the training with experts. Besides, when the battle comes, we'll leave quickly, I promise." Cersei stood up and nodded to them. "Thank you. Train well and be strong." With that, she vanished away. Julia still held Joshua's hand. "I'm scared." "I know. So am I."